So today I'm going to be turning this pedal go-kart and these electric scooter components into an electric go-kart. Let's get started. So I finished the rear assembly for the go-kart, and for the most part it's looking pretty good. I managed to use this part I had already welded before. I reused it, so I grinded off the corners that were added. I welded on these two bits that will be the attachment points onto the rear of the go-kart down here. And then up here, I still need to drill 2 holes for the motor to mount onto a plate that will be able to move up and down for tensioning. So I will be doing that in just a second. Yeah, it's a completely different day. But I did get the holes drilled in, and I also cut these 2 little slits, and this is where it'll be able to attach to this go-kart. Basically, it's just going to slide onto the end right here and here, and it fits nice and snug. So once it's welded in, it'll be perfectly aligned with the same height. And then once I have it welded on, I will add the pegs for the rear wheels to attach. So let's go do that now. So I finished welding it all together. I got the axles in and everything, got the wheels on, and here's how it looks with the seat on. I still got to add the front wheels, which I'm going to do next. And one thing I changed is in the back here, the axle was originally supposed to come out this hole here, but I changed it to be out of this hole from the end of that piece of tubing. This is what the original design was supposed to look like. It was supposed to have a piece come out the very end there instead of over here, but it doesn't change that much. The motor's just going to be about like half an inch lower than it would have been, which is how I designed it to work, because there's going to be the motor plate like I showed earlier, and that's going to basically just have, what am I aiming? It's going to have a motor plate that goes on right here and then here, and that'll be able to slide up and down for tensioning, and the motor will just be mounted on top of that. So let's get working on the front wheels. So I went and finished up the back. I got all welded on, got the axles both on, bolted on and everything. It's nice and sturdy. There's pretty little wobble. There's a little bit of flex in the chassis. If I stand here, it likes to lean in a little bit. And I'm gonna fix this by buying like a 1-inch metal plate bar and installing it from this point here to probably the bottom of right here. And then I'll also use that to mount the battery and electronics box. I also went and finished the front steering, or the front spindles attached to the steering. And I added in a little bit of camber on both the wheels. And then I also added in a tiny bit of toe-in angle for both. It's kind of hard to see, but it just makes it so the wheels want to move in as it goes forwards versus moving out, which gives it better handling characteristics in my opinion. And then I'm gonna go work on the plate now, and then I'll have to go run the Home Depot or Lowe's to get the plate for this. So let's go do that now. Okay, so I went and finished the motor mount, and then this was the box of electronics I did off camera also. So now I'm going to see how well this mount works. Basically the motor's on. It's a little bit tilted, so I think I'm gonna add a bolt in here to basically just press the plate so it's not as lean back. And I basically can get the motor to run without the battery because I'm waiting for it to arrive on Amazon right now, by disconnecting the overcharge protection and then just using the charger plugged in. So now let's go see how well it works. Turn it on, grab the throttle, and it's a little too lopsided, so I'm definitely gonna need another nut on there. It's great, it's working. Seems like it's gonna pull pretty fast. It's not gonna be slow or anything. Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna need the nut in here. It's leaned a little too far back. Yeah, it's causing the chain to be a little bit too far out up here. So time to go run to Lowe's and buy the metal piece I need for mounting the box and some nuts. So let's go to Lowe's. Go to the Lowe's. I went ahead and welded the bar I got at Lowe's on. It's just welded on the bottom sides. I don't think I'm going to weld on the top. It's pretty strong for where it is. And this will be a good mounting point for the electronics case and the battery. This is just the bag for the battery from the scooter. And then these will probably be zip tied on through looping it under the bottom and then having it come over. And then there's enough of a clearance for the seat to still go on top. So the other thing I looked at was I mocked up the electronics. This is the throttle for the go-kart and this is the brake. So what I think I'm going to do is add a paddle shifter. So the way the throttle works is it wants to turn towards me. So I'm going to add a slit in and add a paddle shifter and a spring so I can pull it from here, and I'll basically pull the throttle that way as if I was twisting it. And then the brake is going to stay probably the same. I'm probably just going to cut part of this off and then bolt a plate through because this is aluminum, I'm pretty sure, so I can't weld that. And then the way I have the wires working so they don't get twisted is from the way it goes down the steering wheel, I can turn it. It twists the wires a little bit at the top, so I'll probably have all three wires connect into like a little gasket tube of some kind. And then towards the bottom, I will have it zip tied to this, and then it separates from that, goes under this piece of plate, follows the tube, and ends about right here. So they're all a little bit short, but the wires are pretty simple, so I'll cut them open and add a longer section so I can snake it all the way up to here and probably have it come in the side of the box right by this piece. And the one thing I'm still trying to figure out is the brake cable. So I'm thinking right now I might switch out this cable with a longer one that'll be able to run all the way back behind here over to here and here. And I'll probably just get a longer cable, some housing from a different go-kart I had, and I'll just attach this back on. And I still need to design the bracket, which I'll go do in CAD. So yeah, let's go do that.
Many months later.
Okay, so it's been a couple months, and yeah, I sort of just went and finished it. So what I worked on was I finished the steering up top. I made it like paddle shifters, so whenever you grab it with the wheel, you basically put your hand here and you pull it forwards, and you get the throttle. It kind of sticks sometimes, so you do have to push it back, which I'm fine with. And then if you look over here, I have the lights to indicate the battery life. So if I turn it on, you get full, and then it'll tell you when you're at half and low, which is nice. So then we have this, which I went to go build the brake, but I decided against it just because I went and test it without it. And whenever the brake is pulled out completely, this thing comes out and it acts as an emergency brake, shutting off the motor. But if you just pull it even the slightest bit, the motor will shut off and it'll brake with the motor. So it's pretty good. So let's go test drive it now. Let's fucking rip this bitch. So, overall, it turned out pretty good. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but when you're riding on it, you can get it on two wheels. It's pretty fun. It has a top speed. We measure it. It's about 10 or 12 miles per hour, depending if you're going downhill or not. So overall, I think it's a pretty good build. It wasn't too much work to get it done, just electric scooter components. All I had to do was extend a couple of wires in order to get the throttle and brake up here. So overall, yeah, I think this turned out pretty well. I repainted it also, and I'm happy with how it turned out. A couple things I'd probably change in the future though is the chain sometimes falls off and the motor plate is starting to bend from the amount of torque that it's putting down. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So I'll see you guys next time. I think it died.